When we think about the British weather, it's easy to imagine lots of brollies underneath grey skies and rainfall, but sometimes our weather takes a more dramatic turn, such as a heatwave or a winter freeze. One of the key players behind these extremes is something called a Scandinavian high. This type of high pressure system can block our usual weather fronts attempting to move in from the Atlantic, and depending on the time of year, it can lead to anything from sunny skies to freezing temperatures and sometimes heavy snow.
But why is this? What happens when a Scandinavian high takes hold? And why does it sometimes lead to the infamous beast from the east?
What is a Scandinavian high? A Scandinavian high is a large area of atmospheric pressure that develops over Scandinavia, often influencing the weather in the UK. But what does high pressure actually mean, and why does it have such a big impact on our weather? What is high pressure? In meteorology, high pressure, also known as an anticyclone, occurs when air is sinking rather than rising. This leads to calm, settled weather, often with light winds, as opposed to low pressure, which brings cloud, rain, and sometimes storms. For more information on how atmospheric pressure affects the weather, take a look at the video linked in the description on our Learn About Weather channel. High pressure systems generally create stable conditions, but the type of weather they bring depends on their position and the time of year. Let me explain. How high pressure affects UK weather. Well, in summer, if a Scandinavian high extends westwards, it can block the usual Atlantic weather systems, keeping the UK dry and settled. If it pulls air from the east, this can bring hot, dry conditions from continental Europe. In winter, the impact can be completely different. High pressure over Scandinavia often directs cold easterly winds towards the UK, bringing low temperatures, frost, and sometimes snow. A great example of this is when we experience a beast from the east. What is the beast from the east? Now, it's not as scary as it might sound. The beast from the east is actually just a phrase often used in the media to describe cold and wintry conditions in the UK caused by a polar continental air mass, which is essentially bitterly cold easterly winds from the near continent. For more information on air masses, check out the video in the description where Aidan describes the 5 different air masses that affect the UK weather. When high pressure sits over Scandinavia during winter, it can draw freezing air from Europe towards the UK. This air can be very cold and dry at its source, but its exact track to the UK determines what kind of weather we experience. What does it mean for UK weather? For example, the length of the sea track over which the air travels before reaching the UK plays a crucial role in what kind of weather we get. If the air has a short sea track over the English Channel, it remains dry. This results in clear skies and severe frost, with temperatures often dropping well below 0 degrees Celsius at night and sometimes staying below freezing all day. But if the air has a longer sea track over the North Sea, it picks up moisture. The air becomes what we call unstable, where the air is warmed by the sea below, making it rise, so this can lead to showers or rain or snow, especially near the east coast of Britain. Beast from the east examples. One of the most well-known examples of a beast from the east occurred in 2018, when a powerful Scandinavian high helped pull freezing Siberian air across the UK. This led to freezing temperatures, strong winds, and travel chaos, with widespread snow and 2 red warnings issued by us here at the Met Office. Another major event was December 2010, when a similar setup caused one of the coldest and snowiest Decembers on record, with weeks of freezing conditions and significant snowfall across much of the country. But what happens during other times of the year? Scandinavian high in summer. Well, in summer, a Scandinavian high can bring settled, dry weather to the UK, as high pressure systems often block clouds and rainfall. This often leads to clear skies and prolonged sunshine, especially in southern and eastern parts of the country. For example, in July 2018, the UK experienced a similar setup, and it brought persistent, dry and sunny weather. As a result, temperatures reached the mid-30s degrees Celsius, particularly in the southeast, and the heatwave lasted for several weeks. While the heat was intense, it was the steady, clear weather pattern that caused the heat to build up over time. However, the winds from the east or northeast can bring cooler air from Scandinavia, so while it may be sunny, temperatures might not soar as high as expected for summer, and we can get temperatures dropping sharply overnight as the lack of cloud cover lets heat escape. Overall, while a Scandinavian high can lead to dry, calm weather, it can also mean cooler temperatures, especially in the east of the UK. To sum up, it's clear to see that a Scandinavian high is a key player in UK weather, but just because we have high pressure across Scandinavia doesn't mean we'll get a heat wave or heavy snow. While headlines often hype up the snow bombs or Scandinavian plumes, the reality isn't always so extreme. That's why it's important to stay informed with reliable forecasts and not just raw, uninterpreted weather computer model data which is available to the public and is often what's used to create headlines. Here at the Met Office, we have our expert meteorologists constantly keeping an eye on the weather, providing you with the most accurate forecasts, and presenters like me will be here to give you as much up-to-date information as possible when there's a risk of heavy snow on the way, helping you stay safe no matter what the weather brings.